Let's now take a look at the program in the BlueJ environment. We can open a project called CourseGrade, which is basically the program that we have just discussed. If you double-click on the icon, the Java source code is displayed in the editor window, and you can see that this program is basically the same as the one that we have just discussed. You can see that there are stripes in the CourseGrade icon, which means that the program has not yet been compiled. Let's try to compile the program using the Compile button in the main BlueJ window. You can see that the program compiled successfully with no syntax error. Let's try to run the program by right-clicking on the CourseGrade icon and select Main from the pull-down menu, because that would be the main entry point to the program. Then click OK. Now, you can see that the prompt Enter your exam grade is being displayed in the BlueJ terminal window. Let's say this is a very good student and received perfect scores in the exam, the lab, as well as the homework assignments. Notice that we enter the decimal point number 100.0 for each of the score. For whatever reason, the final grade returned by the program is 0.0. I'm sure that the student would be very unhappy. Let's try to find out what caused the problem. In BlueJ, there is a very useful debugging tool which would allow us to trace the execution of a program. The tool is very useful for tracking down the errors. Let's try to find out whether there is any problem after the scores have been entered to the program by setting up a breakpoint after the I/O statements. You can go to the pull-down menu under Tools and select Set or Clear Breakpoint. Now you can see a red mark here. Actually, you can also just click on the corresponding location along the leftmost column in the editor window. You can click on those locations to set or to clear the breakpoints. Once the breakpoint is set, BlueJ would execute the program up to the statement where the breakpoint has been set. Let's start the execution again and enter the same scores: 100.0 for exams grade, 100.0 for lab grade. I want to point out that even if we just enter 100 without the decimal point 0, let's try that for homework grade, just 100 without the 0. Java would do an implicit type conversion because the variable homework score is of double type, and the range of value for in is a subset of that for double. When you hit return, you can see that the editor window reappeared with the statement at the breakpoint being highlighted. More importantly, a debugger window is popped up. This would allow you to inspect the current status of the program when the execution is stopped at the breakpoint. You can go to the window under Local Variables and examine their values. You can see that the values of the weights are given the values at initialization. And the exam score, lab score, and homework score all have been given the value 100.0, including homework score, even it was given an integer value of 100. You can continue the execution of the program by clicking on the Step button, which would execute the next statement in the program. There are other buttons here, and the best way to find out what they do is to try them out yourself. Let's just use the Step button for now. You can see that the next statement is being highlighted in the editor window. That means the program has just finished executing the statement for computing exam score. If you examine the values of the variables again, you'll find that all other values remain the same, except that exam score is now given a value of 0.0. So there must be some problem with the execution of the statement here. Let's continue the execution to see if we have similar problem with the computation of other scores. Again, we get 0 for lab score, and then 0 for homework score. So there must be some common problem with the calculation and updating of the scores using these assignment statements. Can you spot the problem? A hint is that it is related to integer division that I discussed earlier. Notice that exam weight with a value of 70 is of int type, and when it's divided by 100, which is also an integer, the result of the division 0.7 will be truncated and return 0 as the result. When 0 is multiplied with exam score, the resulting value is 0, which is then assigned to exam score. The same problem would occur to lab score and homework score. An easy fix to the problem would be to change 100 to 100.0. And if you remember the type conversion rule that we have just discussed, when an integer is divided by a floating point number, the result will be converted to floating point number. Let's now terminate the previous execution of the program and compile the program again. There is no syntax errors. The previous execution of the program illustrates that although the program had no syntax error, it didn't mean that it would work as intended or semantically correct. Let's try to execute the program again by right-clicking on the icon and then select main. If we enter the same scores, 100, 100, and 100, good. The computer final score is 100, and everyone should be happy now. I want you to try running the program by trying out different test cases to see if you could find any other problems with the program.